So if you remember that Jack Smith had dropped an indictment on Donald Trump, I think last year, and he wanted the Supreme Court to rule on the immunity question before the whole process started. The Supreme Court declined to kind of rule on it. So he dropped his indictment. A long time later, like, I don't understand what this, like, if you don't want to look biased, the Supreme Court, like, if you don't want to look like you're helping Donald Trump and you want to look like you're a neutral institution, like, why would you wait? Y'all all live in society, so you know what people are talking about. Like, why would you wait until the very last minute, then drop the bombshell that Donald Trump has, or the president has, some sort of immunity to have to make the case restart all over? So after that happened, a lot of conversation died down about the chances that Donald Trump was even going to get indicted at all. Like, a lot of conversation died down about that period. And the reason being is because, you know, Jack Smith had to go back and redo the whole thing. Okay, boom. So Jack Smith drops out and now he's doing it again. And y'all, I read through the whole indictment and it is freaking insane. It is freaking insane. Number one, I think, just based off my instinct, and I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but based off of looking up the three charges that are being filed against him, which is conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. Those are the three charges. Those are all federal laws. They have been used before in the United States. Like, I looked up all of this. Like, it's not like these are some obscure laws that have never been used. One of them was used against the Trump campaign, like in 2019, and members of the Trump campaign, and they pled guilty to them. So these are laws that have been used before, that are able to be used and already have some sort of like play in the courts. Like, they already have standing in a court. And when you read through the indictment, there's really three things that make up this indictment. It's 36 pages, I believe, in total. But at first, it gives a detailed overview of how elaborate Trump and his team of conspirators' efforts to overturn the election actually was. And it starts off by really addressing Trump's rights to free speech and his rights to challenge an election and his right to do a lot of the things that he did. So it starts off by that, but then it takes a turn and it differentiates between when he started to break the law and what he was doing. So in reading it, I learned really everything that he did. So one, it talks about an elaborate attempt to cause confusion and fear based on conspiracies and lies to pressure state politicians to support the lies that he was spreading about elections. So at first he was going around state to state to state. His team was going around. And mind you, his campaign advisors were saying like, no, this is all lies. So he got some outside lawyers and political consultants who are labeled in the indictment as conspirators to help push the lies and come up with this plan. So first they start, going to state governors, state legislatures, the Secretary of State in different states. They went to attorney generals, and they're trying to convince them to, support this lie as they file lawsuits against the outcomes of the elections in different states. So that's the first thing they did. The second step was they had a scheme of like fake electors. So basically, every time that the United States holds an election, at the end of the election, once the votes are all counted in a specific state, the state sends an elector with the signature of the governor of that state to the Senate to verify the election. But all of this is written in the law of how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to happen on a certain date, has to happen in a certain place. Well, Donald Trump's team, their plan, which is an outrageously weird plan, but sent a whole bunch of their own fake, quote unquote, electors to go and vote. Like, I don't even know how to describe this, but to go and vote, like, I guess in their own, like, personal places on the same day that it's scheduled to happen by the other electors, and then given like a fake document that verifies that Donald Trump won the specific state. And he did it in multiple swing states. And then to send it to the Senate themselves. Like, and then the third step was to pressure Mike Pence to, instead of using the real electors like verifications of their state's outcomes, to use the fake ones. And then declare that these fake ones were actually the real ones, which they thought would cause confusion in the Senate, would delay, and potentially be able to send it back to the states to try to overturn the election. Like, it's freaking insane. It's freaking insane. But Jack Smith, I think that this new indictment will be successful against Donald Trump. Like, personally, just based off of the information that I see about it, how well it's kind of constructed when I read about it. Like, it looks like pretty legit. It looks like it could definitely be within the bounds of the law. And the Supreme Court, they ruled that Trump has some immunity, but they did not give him complete and total immunity. So I could see this definitely going through.